right? Imagine you testing your app manually, and then having to like go over manual test again and again, the same step. And the honest truth is, the next time you might be testing the app, as a human being that you are, you might be tired, you might be having a headache, you might be stressed. And so you might not even be able to think about all the things that you need to think about to test that application. And might in situations like that, you might run into errors, or you might forget something. Or but if you have tested these things before, when you are in the right frame of mind and you have these tests automated, you don't need to do that manually. You just trigger your automation, right? And I mean, good thing if you have it in your CI/CD pipeline. Obviously, automation is not complete if you don't add it to your pipeline so that it can automatically run even when you're not there, right? So that's if you write automation test and you don't do that, then you've not completed the automation, right? Because you can't be available to run your automation scripts manually. That means you're still doing some part of the work manually. Yeah, so if you're able to automate some of these things, even if you're feeling dizzy, you are rest assured that your test can actually at least confirm that whatever change that has been made or anything has not impacted the existing system, right? And then you can now focus your energy on maybe adding or updating the test, right? So with automation, there's reusability. It offers you speed with releasing your applications. You can scale, and you are sure of accuracy, at least for existing application and for existing functionalities. The next thing is the types of mobile applications. I think in the course of talking, I already mentioned some of these things, but yeah, it's important that we know the types of mobile applications that we have. So all the mobile applications that you see out there are basically either of these three, any of these three. Yeah, it could be a native application or a hybrid app. So when we say native application, it means those applications that are platform specific. Yeah. So for instance, Android devices, they have their own native applications that comes with them, right? So those applications are the apps that you see when you buy your Android phone, or and then you open it. You can see that they came inbuilt with the phone, right? Those are native applications. Then there are the iOS, the same thing, right? And for Android, it's usually built using Java Kotlin. For iOS, it's built using Swift, right? Then for hybrid applications, there are those applications that are usually built with React Native. Those applications can actually run either on either of the um, platforms, be it Android or iOS, right? Then we have the web applications, which are basically applications that can be accessed through mobile browsers, right? You can also access them on, in fact, they are basically web applications, yeah, but you can access them with your mobile phones, with your mobile devices. Some of them can run on in-app mobile browsers like Facebook, and yeah. So these are the three types of mobile applications that we have. Then, what are the benefits of automation or mobile automation? Like, what are the benefits? What are the importance? Why do you, like, what would you gain by doing mobile automation, right? So, the first thing I listed here is faster execution. So, with mobile automation, you can basically run tests across multiple devices, like I said before, in parallel. What do I mean by in parallel? It means you can actually run one test on on multiple devices at once. Like they will all be running on the different devices at the same time. Yeah. They don't need to wait for device A to finish run, and the test to finish running on device A before it runs on device B or on device C. It just runs in parallel. Yeah. Then there's also improved accuracy. I already mentioned this. So it helps to reduce human errors. Then it helps you a lot with regression testing, basically. When you have automation in place and there are changes or there are new features that are added to your test, you can basically just focus your energy on trying to find issues with the current change that has been made, right? Your tests, your automation test can basically do a regression for you to ensure that your previous build is not in any way affected by the current change, by the changes in the current build. Yeah. Then the next thing is it is cost effective. So over time, on the long run, automation is cost effective, right? Because when you have automation in place, like as a company, it can you might not really be needing to employ so many people to come and start testing. I know this might not sound this thing for we testers, because I mean people are looking for jobs, but yeah, it saves costs. It is cost effective basically. So rather than doing manual testing all the time, including even the individuals that are doing the manual testing, it can be overwhelming, can be stressful to like be testing applications manually. So it's better that you automate some things and know that, okay, automation is covering these things for me. Automation does not mean that you will not test manually, because those things you are actually automating are the things that you have tested manually. Those tests that you are automating, you have written them manually, right? You've executed those tests before you go ahead to automate them. It's just like you saying, okay, I've done this, I'm sure this is fine. All right, so let me just automate this and then have it run while I focus on the other parts. So it saves you energy, right? Then the next thing is it is CI/CD friendly. So automation enables you to integrate your tests into pipelines, depending on the pipeline your company is using, if it's DevOps, if it's Azure DevOps, if it's GitLab CI, if it's GitHub Actions, whatever CI/CD pipeline that your CI/CD tool basically that your company is using, you can basically integrate it into them and have continuous testing without interruption. Then the next thing is device coverage. So with automated tests, you can basically have maximum coverage, test coverage when it comes to devices, different devices, compatibility testing, you testing on several devices or yeah, basically. And then operating systems versions. So the next thing is some mobile automation tools that we have. So we have several test automation tools, not just Appium, right? So we have a few of them listed here. And if you check Google, you might see so many other ones as well. But these are some of the ones I am showing here now. But the most important thing is that amongst these tools, Appium actually stands out because of its cross-platform compatibility and a wide language support. So with Appium, you can actually write your test with any language of your choice, right? Any scripting language of your choice, be it Python, be it JavaScript, be it Java, C#. You can basically write your test with Appium in any of these languages, right? And it is cross-platform, right? So it is platform independent. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody have any questions so far from what I've said. Any questions, any confusion? Why am I showing in like how many screens? Okay. All right, Mark Valentine.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, so let me clarify some technicalities that you have mentioned in the course of your presentation. So what do you mean by if you say that your test automation is not kind of changed through a pipeline, which you of course mentioned some different div apps that are available in terms of pipeline. So can you, in plain language, in a layman's language, what do you mean by the pipeline? That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So when I say pipeline, I mean, so you know that do you know how your app how like applications get to users, like how you are able to access applications, be it web or mobile or anything, or even this Google Meet that we're
Yes.
using? Do you
Yes.
know how you have access to them?
Yes, please.
Can you like can you say something about that?
Yes. So there's a developer and ships his code to production. And once it's in production, which means that once it's made public, I can have access as a user to be able to use. Yeah. So the developer has his code at some place where he does all his testing, make sure everything is fine. Once it's fine, then he moves to production. For production, when it's made public, I, the user at the other end, can also have access to the application to use.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah. So good. I'm happy that you know that. So before, when I say the pipeline, so the pipeline is basically that like this stage where in between the developer's code and the production environment, right? So the the developer's code is pushed to maybe a staging branch. Now, a using any of the platforms basically that I've mentioned before, yeah. And in this platform, you can see different depending on the stages where depending on company, like it varies company by company, yeah. So some people might have like their pipeline built in such a way that from the when you push your code to maybe GitHub or maybe Azure or GitLab, you then have your unit test run first. Your unit test will run, and then if you have end-to-end test, which is where any of our tests, either mobile test or web tests, would come in, it will run. And then before that application is now shipped to some people switch, like for the last pipeline I encountered, like my previous place of work, we do like a swap. It gets to staging, and then staging is swapped with production, right? And then you can see the new changes on production. Yeah. So within these steps or these stages, whatever is happening in these stages, that's what I'm referring to as pipeline. So when you have your test, your mobile application, your mobile automation test, you don't just leave it on your local machine, because if you leave it on your local machine, it's not doing anything. It's useless actually, right? You have to integrate it into your company's deployment flow. I don't know if that makes sense. Into your company's CI flow
Sure.
that would help with, ensuring the flow, like your CI/CD flow is going well, and then validating that things have not broken before it gets to production. I don't
Okay.
know if that makes
So
sense.
yeah. So if I'm getting it right, so let's say the company's deployment container, just the we use GitHub as our kind of our pipeline, right?
So yeah.
So once as a developer, I'm done, doing testing on my local device, and
Mhm.
then push it to the GitHub where probably is our pipeline. And then
Mhm.
from there, things can be moved to production. And so at that point is where you are referring to as the pipeline, right?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
all right. Thank you.
So in your like CI, you don't necessarily, you don't, like if you have automation, like most people that don't have automation, they just usually have like unit tests. That's for those that are even doing unit tests, right? They have like unit tests, and this unit test is integrated into their CI/CD flow, right? And it runs depending on how the setup is made, either on every push or every pull request or whatever it is that they have set, right? So when the action is triggered, the test runs before it is deployed to production or anything. Then when you have your mobile test automation, you basically integrate it as well. So you can put it as a stage. You put it as one of the stages again, because basically it runs in stages. So yeah. So when your unit test runs, that's one stage running. And then you can
So
decide put it in stage, maybe after unit test, you put your mobile automation test or your web test, or maybe your web, then your mobile, depending on, it all depends on you, how you want it or what you want, right? You still have your hand up. Do you have another question or you want to say something?
yes, so I'm just asking, in your opinion, what should be the best practice? So let's say we have end-to-end testing integrated, or want to integrate end-to-end testing before production. So at which point does it come in between developer local development end-to-end before pipeline and then production, or end-to-end testing comes after pipeline then production?
So, um, so like I think I will say I still say it still depends on your organization. Yeah. So I've worked in a place where the way we did ours is we run our unit test. After the unit test, in fact, the last test that runs is the end-to-end test. Yeah. And if anything is broken, it stops the pipeline. So like the deployment doesn't happen. And that was I basically used GitLab CI in that case. So, but there's also a place where I used like Azure, and we have like two different environments. Like there's a test environment, and in the test environment, we run our after the unit test, we run our end-to-end test. Then you run that, so it's more like that's closest to the developer environment, because the developers when they finish working, they also push their code to their branch and then run their branch on that test environment. Mind you, we already have like end-to-end tests integrated in that environment as well. So when they run their branch on that environment, if anything is causing a problem, the test will fail in that environment. Do you understand? And then they can go back to check if it is failing because of their code or anything, or call our attention to check why the test is failing. After we are done with that environment completely, and you show that your tests are passing, if you need to fix the test or you need to update the test to accommodate the new changes or anything, when you are done, before we now trigger another pipeline that deploys to production. And in that pipeline, we have the same stage. We have now in that pipeline, we have like performance tests, automation added there. We have the unit test as well, and then the end-to-end test. So the end-to-end test runs before the swap, like before deployment to production. And then after deploying to production, we also run some end-to-end tests again. And that test is now running on production. So I'm just giving you like two different instance or two different way of implementation. Does that make sense? So you can decide to like have your own after unit test, you have your end-to-end test, and then or you have your end-to-end test at the last. So depending on how fast you want your test to give you results. So if you want the end-to-end test to fail fast, so that maybe to save resources or like cost or something, you might bring your end-to-end test closer. Maybe after your unit test, you run your end-to-end test, so that if anything is failing, it fails fast, so that you can start figuring it out, rather than running all the other stages and getting to, maybe if your end-to-end test is the last thing, it then fails at that stage, maybe wasting resources for you or anything. I hope that answers your question. All right. So I just hope that we don't take so much time answering questions. Okay, I think we'll do what Ikenna just said. Yeah, let's keep our questions and then I'll answer them after the presentation. So let's continue. So yeah, what is Appium? Which is the main cocoa of today, like the main business. I don't know if Ghana people understand the cocoa that I just said, but yeah, that's the main business of today. What is Appium? So Appium is an open source free mobile automation framework that basically allows you to test all kinds of mobile application, native apps, hybrid applications, and web applications. So it helps you write your test using the WebDriver protocol, which is the same protocol that Selenium uses. Now, when I say WebDriver protocol, I meant the W3C standards. I don't know if anybody has heard of that, but yeah. So Appium also runs on this protocol, and it's open source. It's free. You don't need to pay for it. Yeah, so that's Appium, and you can basically use it for any of the test automation and any of the mobile application that you want to run test on. So why do you want to use Appium, or why should you use Appium, right? So I just listed some of the features and the benefits that it has, right? So Appium is cross-platform. I think I already mentioned it earlier. So it supports different platforms. It supports the Android, it supports your iOS, which are basically the two platforms that we have for mobile, right? And then we have, it has multiple language support. So you can actually use any of your preferred language. If you're comfortable with Java, you can use Java. If you're comfortable with JavaScript, you can use JavaScript. If you're comfortable with Python, C#, whatever language that you're comfortable with, basically, you can use any of them, right? And there's also Ruby. Yeah, C# is the same as .NET. So yeah, you can basically use any of the languages, and it supports that 100%. What did I click now? Can you still see my screen? I hope I've not closed the presentation.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
I have closed the presentation, yeah?
I was seeing
Yeah, you know.
the presentation.
Okay, I think I mistakenly clicked something. Okay, let me get it, please. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. Yes, so I think we're here. All right, so it is also driver based. Like I said before, it's WebDriver based basically. So you can actually, if you have knowledge of Selenium, you can actually easily transition from Selenium to Appium. So yeah, if you have knowledge of Selenium, you can easily use Appium, right? You just need to understand the architecture and how it works. Then you don't need to modify it in any way for you to actually be able to run your tests on production apps. Yeah, you don't need any form of modification or any extra plenty drama to get it to run tests on the applications that are on production or applications that are ready for production. So also on Appium, you can actually run real devices, like you can run your test on real devices as well as on emulation or simulated devices, right? So it has support for both real devices and
Yeah, Mary,
emulated devices. Yeah.
Can you be on full presentation, because it's like you're not present? Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. So yeah. So like I said, it has support for both real devices and emulated devices, which makes it able to support scalable testing, right? It is CI/CD friendly for your continuous testing. And then it is also free and open source. And it has a big community, basically. So yeah. So these are some of the reasons why you might consider using Appium for your mobile automation. Then we have the Appium architecture. So Appium basically follows a client-server architecture, right? And when we say the client, what do we mean? This is your tests, basically, your test script, your test that you have written with Appium using any of the languages that have been mentioned here or that is not mentioned, but Appium supports, like .NET or Ruby. Yeah, so that's your client, right? And then there's the Appium server, which basically translates your command, right? The command that you have added in your test. It takes those commands and translates them into your device native command. So if it's iOS that you're testing, it takes your script and then converts it to the native command for iOS. If it's Android, it takes that script, that's your client, and then converts it into what your Android device will understand, and then execute those commands on the device, right? That's your Appium server, which is basically like the middleman between the client and your actual device, the device that you're using, be it real devices, be it emulators or simulators, right? That you're running. When I talk about emulators, I'm talking about Android emulators. If I'm talking about simulators, I'm talking about iOS simulators, like simulators yeah, let me just stop there. I talk what I'm doing. Okay, yeah. So so you can, so like I've given like a step. So think of it like this: that you write your test, right? And Appium interprets it, sends the instruction to your mobile device, your mobile operating system, and then executes those actions on the app like a real world user, like a real user, basically. And we're going to see that in play in the course of this class. So yeah, okay, yeah, I have a structure, like a diagram to also portray what I just said. That's the architecture. Your client, which is the Appium client, that's your test script or your test, and then your Appium server, which basically runs on Node.js, yeah, and then the device, your devices, your Appium, your real devices, or basically, or your app, right? Be it Android or iOS. And it basically uses any of these things to any of these drivers. So for the UI automator, it's for Android devices, and then for the SQ test, it's for iOS, right? Then, okay, so yeah, I started to add this because it is important to, so sometimes when we are learning something, when you're learning a tool or anything, it is good to, or it is important for you to know what that thing is not. For some people, it helps them understand better what that thing actually is. And you know that this thing is not this thing, it helps you understand what that thing actually is, right? And so that's why I just decided to add this part. So Appium is not a testing framework like your TestNG or Jest or your JUnit or whatever. It is not. Appium does not include test reporting. It doesn't include assertions, right? So it doesn't have that. Appium also does not automatically handle your wait or your pop-ups or your different, some of these interactions, yeah, on the web. It does not do that. It is a tool that basically bridges your so it's basically a bridge between your code and your device. That's your Android or iOS device. And because of this, you would still be needing things like frameworks to help with structuring your tests properly. So if you're using Python, you might be needing a PyTest. If you're using Java, you might be needing TestNG to organize your tests. Then for reporting, you might be needing Alio or any the reporting tool for your reporting. And then you will be needing Selenium WebDriver for your weights and synchronizations and some of these to handle weights and some of these pop-ups basically. So even though you're using Appium to automate, you might be needing some of these frameworks to assist with accomplishing some things depending on what you want to do. And then depending on the language that you're using, you will now know the framework to use. You can't be using Java and then you are bringing in PyTest. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so yeah, setting up your Appium. So before you can actually set up Appium on your laptop, you will need to have several things, right? You need to have Node.js. And like I said before, it's because Appium is built on Node.js. Then you will need your Java JDK for Android automation. Then you also need a language for depending on the language that you want to use now, whichever one. For this class, we're going to be using Appium. I'm sorry, what did I say? Appium? Python, please. Then you would also need to install your Appium inspector. This is also optional, but it is important. Then you would need your device, either your real device or your emulator. For this session, we're going to be using an emulator. So these are some of the things you need. So if you don't have these things like your Java, most importantly, Node.js, Java, you need to have them installed on your laptop. And then you can go ahead and install maybe Python or whatever language that you want to use. And then your inspector, that can come later. And then you need to find a way to get an emulator or a real device, right? So we'll start with setting up Appium. I may not be able to do these things like the setting up in this session, and that's because I already have most of these things set up on my laptop, right? Long ago. So I already have them, and because of the space on my laptop now, I can't even afford to say I want to start doing that because it will not even work. I don't have a space on my laptop. So yeah, I'll just just walk you through the steps, like tell you how it's done. And then if you're trying to do it on your own and you're having issues, you might call my attention. I am on LinkedIn, you can reach out. Okay, so you need to install your node, like I said. You need to install Appium. Sorry, we are setting up Appium now. You need to install Appium from using your terminal. So if you're using Windows or you're using Mac, you can just go to your terminal and type this npm. npm comes bundled with Node.js. So if you install Node.js, it automatically installs npm for you. And then to start your Appium server, you just type Appium on your terminal. And then you also need to install your Appium driver. And this is what Appium driver looks like. Okay, I'm not sharing entire screen here. Okay, so I think I might need to stop sharing and share my entire screen. So give me a moment, please. Where is the meeting link? The meeting. Okay, so Please let me know when you can see my screen. Yeah.
Okay, it's not coming. You can see.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so I just mentioned what's it called now? Sorry, I have to go back. This is it. So yeah, so the Appium driver, UI automator, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like on the screen. Where is it now? UI automator. Please, in case you see it, just let me know. I don't know, it's like my eye is pinning me. Interesting. Let's see it here. Did it hide somewhere?
Can you search
Use
for
your
it?
that will be easy for you to get it.
Yeah, can you just
Sorry.
search? But can you just
Yeah.
search?
Yeah. Let me do that. I was just thinking I thought I saw it somewhere. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do.
Are you talking about Appium Inspector?
No, no. UI automator. Okay. So doing something else. Did I? Okay, let's just proceed. It will show. But hold on.
Are you talking on of Agile Studio? There's Agile Studio on your system.
Yeah, I know. Not that.
No.
Not
Okay.
that. Okay,
You don't
it's fine. Let's.
search for it.
Sorry.
I said you don't want to search for it. That search field. Maybe you find it when you search for it.
I don't know whether I'm searching the wrong. I just searched and it's taking me out. Okay, hold on.
So
Can you do a command and command piece? Maybe you should.
Come and find. I do that already. Yeah, come and find. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I'm looking for here. Where did it just go now? To the. Where is it disappearing to? I just saw it now, and it disappeared again.
I think it's taking its time to load.
Okay, like I said before, Sha, my laptop is quite slow, especially with some of these heavy. In fact, I almost deleted them, but I had to like hold on because of this class. So, so I would sorry, I would have to stop sharing my screen just to try to at least get make my this thing easy to access. Sorry. Yeah, so I couldn't show you the automator, but let's proceed. Sure. Just right. I just saw it now. But why is it running away? Here, see it here. Is that? I don't understand. What's going on? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. It's fine. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you. Okay, so and basically you can also you can install using your what's it called? Your terminal by running this command. So you just run the Appium driver install automator 2. And then the next thing is you also need to install your Android Studio. You already saw my Android Studio when I was trying to show you. So you need Android Studio. It requires a lot of space, right? So you need to check your laptops very well before you start installing these things. Then you also install your Appium Doctor using your terminal. So for Android Studio, you have to like go to their website to install, to download. Sorry. Then yeah, so you install your Appium Doctor. You need to install your Appium Doctor, and then you need to install your Appium client library, sorry. And this would be based on your language that you're writing your test with. So in our case, we're going to be using Python. So we'll be installing the Python Appium client. Also, I have installed, so I have my Android Studio, I have my Appium Inspector. Remember I said Appium Inspector earlier. I said it's optional, but it is important. It will make your life easier. And then you would have to install an IDE that will allow you to use your, depending on the programming language you choose. So for me, I'm using Python, so I have my PyCharm installed. Then what else? Yeah, I think that's all for now. Right. So setting up our Android Studio. So when you install your Android Studio, you open it. I'm going to open, where's the Android Studio? Here. Yeah. So so when you're opening it for the first time, you might have to go through some of these things, installing Android SDK, installing the ADP, that's your platform tools, installing your build tools, and then setting up your environment. So you're going to set your Android home on your laptop, right? Things that look like this, yeah? For Mac OS, if you're using Mac, you might not, it depends on the way your Mac is. You might not need to start setting up this Android home. It might be automatically set. It's just like setting your Java home. So, but for Windows, you have to, I think. I'm using a Mac, so I'm not very sure about Windows, but I know that most times you need to set your Java home, Android home, and all of that. Then running your Android emulator. So we are installing this Android Studio because we need an emulator. We are going to be practicing with test on an Android device. So we need an emulator to do that. And that's why we have to install Android Studio. If you're going to be doing on iOS, you'll be needing S code. Excuse me. If you're needing S code, that's something like this one here for your iOS, and I think it comes pre-packaged with simulator. I haven't really used it, so yeah. Then the next thing is so running our Android emulator. So you can decide to run via terminal, right? So you can open up your terminal and then decide to run your start your emulator from your terminal, right? And the first thing is you can get a list of all the all the emulators that you have already, right? But before you even have an emulator, you will need to like go to your Android Studio, go to your virtual device manager, right? And then you can see that I already have one here. I already have one set up here. But for somebody who is just starting, like for you who might just be starting, you would have to create a virtual device. So you're going to create a new one. So actually, if you don't have anyone, this will not be the interface that you will see. You will see like an option to create a new one. But if you already have this, you can just click on the plus icon and create a new one. And then among here, you're going to choose your device definition, right? So depending on what device you want, so you choose your device definition. You can see here that there's Play Store. You can actually download from Play Store. There's the size, there's the resolution, and the density of the devices. That's for phone, if it's tablets, if it's desktop, whatever it is, basically. Now we're using phone. And you can basically pick anyone. The ones that don't have this icon, it means you can't download them, basically, or they've already been downloaded. Yeah. So you can choose anyone, pick anyone, basically. And then click on next, where you can select your system image, and you have to download it. Actually, can you guys see this thing clearly? It's not very clear, sure. It's a bit light, so
It's okay.
you have to it will show up properly when you download it. So you can pick anyone and download. I'm trying to maximize space, so I might not be downloading anything here, but you can pick whichever one you think would work best for you or you need. So this is showing you the different this thing, and then the Android versions and all of that. So you can see that. So if you select anyone, you can then proceed. Let me go back and use something that I don't need to download this thing so that I can show you the next thing. Maybe it's this. Let's see. I still need to download. Anyway, so when you finish downloading, basically, I think the next thing is to click on. There's one more step. Let me see. Sorry. No. Okay, I think that's it basically. So you shall basically just follow the steps and then click on finish. When you click on finish, it's going to download the things that need to be downloaded, and then you can see the device here, right? You see the device here. So for me, I use Pixel 4, API 30, Android 11.0, right? And that's my device. So you can basically start this device from your terminal by using this command. The command will be emulator-avd, and the name of your emulator. The name of your emulator is this. Or you can get the name of the emulator by typing emulator-avd lists. Lists -avd. AVDs. Yeah. Let me be sure I'm correct. Yeah. So if I hit enter, emulator is storing crash data in this. Detection is enabled for process. So yeah, so this is the name of my emulator here, highlighted. Like this is it, pixel _4 API, blah blah blah. So I can decide to run the emulator by saying emulator, or start my emulator by saying emulator-avd, yeah. Then I put the name of the emulator. So just copy this and then paste it here. Yeah. And then it will start my emulator for me. Please, so open. Come and tell me space. Okay. This is it. So where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? So it's opened already, because this is it. For some reason, it is hiding somewhere that I don't know on this screen. So you might actually encounter this. I don't know if everybody's encountering, but I know I encountered it sometimes. So I just prefer to start my device from the UI here, from my Android Studio here. You can see that this button here is showing stop because the device is already started. But for reasons that I don't know, it is not showing on my screen anywhere. So I'm going to stop this and start the device from my Android Studio. So I'll stop this. If I stop this from here, it's going to stop it here as well. Okay, let's do Control C. Okay, so right, so it's still shutting down. I have to wait a few minutes. If it's okay, it has shut down completely. So I'm going to run it from here, start it from here, please, to avoid the drama. So yeah, it's starting our AVD. Same thing. Oh God, don't make me restart this system, please. Okay. Same thing. Same thing is happening here again. Let me stop this. Okay, so I'm going to create a new project and hold on with this for now. I'll come back and try to start it again when I set up my project. Let me close this too so that I can restart it. Create, restart. All right, so like I said before, we're going to be using Python. So you need to install the Python. Okay, so the next thing is writing our first test. And you need to be sure that you have this checklists done or completed with. So first you need to have your Appium server running. Oh God, I think that was the first mistake I made. Yeah, so you need to have your Appium server running, and to start your Appium server, you just need to open your terminal and then type Appium in your terminal. Remember, you need to have Appium installed already. So your Appium server, our Appium server is started. Can you see my screen? Can you see this, or do I need to maximize this? Are you there? Am I talking to myself?
I can see it clearly.
Okay. All right, so yeah, so our Appium server is started, and it is started on this address, port IP this and port number this, right? And then yeah, this is my Android Studio. Okay, let's see our virtual device. Hold on, let me do this first. So I'm going to create a new project. Yeah, here on PyCharm. Then a new Python project, and you can select your folder where you want your test to be stored here. Then you can, for me, I want it to be here, so I'll just leave it like that. You can add a Git repository if you want by checking this. And if you want a welcome script, like a script that shows you what it looks like, you can add this if you want, but I don't want to. And then this is where your Appium version, your Python version, sorry, is. And you can select whichever, if you have like multiple versions and you want to select a specific one, you can actually, or download to here. You can download whichever one you want here. Then I'll just create. So created a new project. I'm not maximizing this because I need to be able to see my emulator, right? So yeah, so we have this project named Python project. So the first thing is to create a Python package, right, inside of this project. So I'm going to create a Python project. So I'll right click on this and then create a Python package here. Then I will name it maybe Appium lecture. So please, you be careful not to. What did I now do? Okay. So be careful not to name it with something that is like a reserved name, like maybe just Appium or anything that is a name that is used in maybe a Python reserved name or a library or something. So this is my package, yeah. So when I created this package, this init.py came with it. So what's the next step? The next step is to install our Appium client, like Appium Python client, right? And there's this command here, pip install Appium Python client. So remember we're installing this because we are using Python, right? So if you're using a different language, it will be the client for that particular language that you'll be installing. So for this one, we are going to be installing Python. So we can just open our terminal. You can install it from any terminal, be it an external terminal like this, or within your IDE. Within your IDE. Minimize this. So I'm just going to open the terminal here, and then you can install from here, or you can also check for the Python packages here. Click on this and then type the name. So you can just type Python Appium Python client. Appium. Yeah, Appium Python clients. Search for it. Should be able to see it. Let's type it wrongly. Appium Python should show up here. Awesome. Okay, so here, so this is it. You can basically just click on install here, and it will also install it for you. Or you can go to the terminal and type pip install. Yeah. Appium Python client. So whichever one that works for you, you can just come to the Python packages here and search for it and click on the install button beside it and it will install. Or you type this command on the terminal and hit your enter and it will install the same thing for you. Yeah. So yeah, so we have that installed already. And then what's the next steps in the, oh God, please. My laptop is becoming slow. I've not even started the emulator yet. Okay, so yeah, so also like this is like a prerequisite. You also need to be sure that it is either your app is already installed on the device or on the device that you're using, or you have the app downloaded. So in my own case, in this case, we are going to be using an app that is already existing in the emulator. And I also have one application that is downloaded on my laptop. So we can also use that. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, so yeah, mine. Yeah. All right, so creating a project. Okay, I already did that. Created a project, created a Python package, which I just did. Now we are going to create like a test file or inside of the package. So basically your test would be inside of the package that you have created. So I'm going to create a file. So I'm going to create a file here inside of this, a Python file, and I'll name it. So the app that we'll be testing is, we can just do a quick, you know what, we'll do a calculator application. So I'm just typing calculator and then, yeah, so this is it. Created a file and then import all the necessary things that need to be imported. So I'm going to, yeah, so we're going to be importing Appium from WebDriver, importing the option like the Android, the UI Automator options. We're also going to be importing the Appium by to enable us, get our, to enable us locate elements. In previous versions of Appium, it was mobile by, but that is no longer working. It's been deprecated, so we now use Appium by. So you have to import that. Then the WebDriver weight from Selenium, and then the EC from the Selenium WebDriver also. So I will need to, please, I'm going to copy this so that I don't waste time typing those plenty things. Hey God, my laptop is beginning to, hang. Oh Jesus. God, let's see. Okay. All right. Okay, so actually what you import depends on what you need, yeah, for the project, but these are some of the basic things that you need for the for your tests, yeah. you need these things basically. So let me try starting the emulator again. From the look of things, I might just restart this system because it's becoming and I think is already affecting the emulator from start. So
so Mary, I think first off, I want to say thank you. This has been a very long one, and I'm glad we're able to see some of the things happening in the real world, and I'm glad you have the opportunity to share with us, with your system, and also with what is going on. Because, for instance, I myself have been in this situation whereby I'm doing a presentation and these things happen, and that's what makes it beautiful, because everything would not be ideal because it's a real world. And thank you for this time. I'm thinking most of us I'm really looking forward to how we're going to go back with the whole thing on the Appium and Python, because I know about Appium and Java, but I haven't tried using Python too. But just want to look into how you do with Python. I don't know if people have questions, because we're really anticipating to see this work out well. Do you have any questions so far, or we want to kind of have anything? Yes, Rashidat, your hand is up.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Thank you
afternoon.
so much for the session. It has been really insightful. So I know that Appium supports Java, Python. So I just wanted to ask, does it support JavaScript as well as
yes,
a language? All right. Thank you.
yes, it does.
Okay.
And if you want to get more insights, you can check out this resource, like their documentation,
Okay.
just to
I'm just saying why.
Yeah, so I see Liana has her hand raised. Liana, you want to say something? You have a question?
Yes,
Liana?
yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary, for presentation. It was really nice to hear you. You really put a lot of effort in this presentation, which I personally appreciate. And I have one small question, let's call it. Maybe you can send the link for your presentation to the chat, so that, for example, I and I guess other participants can check through the presentation and try to do it on their own, like maybe later after our time here.
sure.
Maybe it's possible.
Sure.
Thank you so much. It would be really great.
Okay. Great one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mary, first off, we want to say thank you on behalf of Ministry of Testing. We are grateful. What we are looking at for, if you don't mind, we want to have a 2.0, okay, a version 2.0 with you, where we'll do more hands-on practicals. Probably you must have done take your time to maybe prepare your system, and then we can have a hands-on where we try to use that for whilst you're doing, we're also trying to look at also what we can do ourselves. If that works for you, we'll schedule that and also inform the people in the team that we'll be having a 2.0 version with you, where we can teach us hands-on on what we need to do and how to get better with that. That is something we're looking out for. And again, we want to say thank you. We have recorded this section. We are going to post on our YouTube channel, Ministry of Testing Ghana. We'll share the link with you and also on LinkedIn, so that all those who are here and who are connected with you will be able to also follow us through and have that, with them. So I'm going to quickly share um our email, our social media handles, and then I'm hopeful that is Emmanuel here? Emmanuel, can we share MOT's handles so that everyone can join us? Probably we have a WhatsApp group. So basically, Ministry of Testing is a community in Ghana here that helps to, like these kind of things, educate testers, give them insight on what testing is all about. A community where our voices can be heard. We can learn from experts and also get better with regards to our professions and our field and career path. So we are here as a community that helps people in Ghana here. I mean, young talents and also already existing engineers to also get over with whatever situations they find themselves in their place of work or in their career path. So we have our community here, and then we have our social media links which are being shared. So kindly follow up on LinkedIn, X, YouTube, and Meetup. We appreciate you, and we also want to say again thank you to Mary Onuorah for this opportunity. And Mary, I would want to say again, can we have a for 2.0? If that's okay by you, you can go ahead and say hi. And yes, Mary has her LinkedIn post and her website post. Kindly, her links there. Kindly follow up on her and also do well to support and also share what you've learned so far. Tagging Mary and also tagging Ministry of Testing Ghana. So we can also repost and also celebrate with you based on what you've learned today. Thank you so much, Mary.
Yeah, it's fine because I mean, I was supposed to I had plans of like doing hands-on in this session, but with the way my laptop is going, I might have to like restart the system again and try to, because like I said, some of these applications are really heavy. So yeah, so and it's beginning to so it's beginning to make the system slow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously a 2.0 will be necessary because we haven't exhausted what I have for us in the slide.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary.
So you follow me on LinkedIn or check out my website if you need.
That's fine. We thank you and we appreciate your time and what you've done so far. Yes, Mary has also shared the link to the presentation. So for those who want it, kindly go through the link and utilize that as part of what you use for your presentation or for your learning. She has made it available to us. Thank you so much, Mary, for this. We are so grateful. And without much ado, I think I believe it's okay for us now to end the call. If nobody has any questions anymore, or are there questions you want to ask?
Do you have any questions, please?
Okay, that's fine then. Thank you so much, and have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. And thank you so much, Miss Mary. I appreciate everything. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.